As we're waiting on Jill, what I would ask the board to do is just to approve today's agenda, and then we will probably jump to committees, committee assignments as we wait for Jill to show up. So do I have a motion from anybody to approve today's agenda? So moved. Mark, second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Ashley, you want to scroll down to committee assignments? I don't know if we have them on. There we go. All right. So here we have the standing committees for 2017, and we have options for 2018. So here's where we currently sit with finance, policy, review, and facilities. Does anyone have any preference? They want to do anything different, or they're happy where they're at on each of those?
I'm happy with it.
Okay. Okay. Elated. Note that Neil is elated. And we'll put Jill on every committee.
What happens when you're like,
So Jill, we're just reviewing the committees. We haven't done any of the officials yet. So we're just reviewing the committee assignments, and everybody's pretty comfortable with on the committees they're currently on as far as the standing committees. So I see you're on policy and facilities. So okay with that? Yeah. Okay. All right, then scroll up a little bit, Ashley. Other way, sorry, down. Representatives of boards, agencies, and committees, any thoughts or anyone want to do anything different for 2018? Okay.
fine.
I'm okay.
Okay. All right, then we will keep 2018 the same. Rolling up to the officer positions. I guess the first thing we can do is we'll look at the chair. And do you have that slide, Ashley? Let's just pop this up if we have any discussion on this. Okay, so here's from MSBA for the first Monday in January for selection of officials for board officers. So we will ask for nominations. If there's only one nomination, then I think we can move right to voting on it. If there's multiple nominations, then what we'll do is what we did last year, and that is go to the paper ballots as we've done previously. So I guess the first thing I'll ask for is, do we have any nominations for chair of the Oberly Area School Board for 2018?
I'd like to nominate Ken Peterson.
Okay, Ken Peterson. Any other nominations? I say again, any other nominations? After I say any other nominations. All right, so we have a motion or move to close the nominations for this office. I would ask that the board then conducts a vote for Ken Peterson be the chair of the school board. Ken, are you willing to be the chair of the school board for the 2018 school year? Okay, all right, so all in favor of Ken Peterson remaining chair as the school board for 2018, say aye.
Do we need a motion or not?
I don't think so, because I think this is, we only have the one nomination. Okay. So I think we're okay there. Yep. So Ken is the nominee for the school board for school board chair for 2018. Since there are no further, any other nominations, all in favor of Ken Peterson as the chair, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ken, you can have the gavel.
Ken, if it's okay, I'd like to make a comment. I appreciate the way that you have chaired the board in the past year, so I'm looking forward to you chairing again this year. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Joe, and thanks to everyone for the support. We'll move on then to electing a vice chair. Is there a nomination for vice chair?
I nominate Neil Score.
Okay. Is there any other nominations?
I nominate Dave Clark.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Okay, then we'll have nominations cease and we'll do the ballots.
Just a reminder, when you do the ballot, put your name on it and then the person you're voting for. Just place your name on it as the person who filled out by, or and put the person that you are voting for. I would suggest you put I select or I vote for so-and-so as board vice chair.
Okay, we'll move on to clerk. Any nominations?
I nominate Jill.
Okay, is there any other nominations?
I nominate Neil.
Okay, we have Neil and Jill. Okay, any other nominations? We'll have nominations cease and go to the paper ballot.
I'll withdraw my name. Thank you for the nomination, Neil, but I'll withdraw my name, and I know you want to get out of the writing cramp this year, but one more year.
Okay, Neil, you're fine with that? Okay, good. We move then on to treasurer. Any nominations?
I'll nominate Mark Shody.
Are there any other nominations?
I nominate Angie Hansen.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Okay, we'll have nominations cease and go to the paper ballot. Okay, we have our officers for the 2018 school year, or not school year, calendar year. Okay, we've already completed the assignments for committees, but we need to look at the schedule for, what on the schedule?
We'll took one action item on committees and this, officers and committees, or actually, we've done the officers, so one action item on the standing committees and representative boards and agencies and committees. So we've done the nominations for officers. Now we need an action item for the committee reps.
Okay.
So to just approve the slate of committee reps for the 2018 calendar year.
Okay, is there a motion to do so? Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the committee assignments and officers and representatives signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have a resolution for polling places, and did I miss?
3-2, the board meeting schedule, the
Oh,
calendar.
I'm sorry, I
Yep.
skipped that. Okay. You have the schedule for review.
Just a couple comments on that. Most meetings are on the first and third Monday of the month, with the exception of July, which only has one meeting. And then when we have a holiday like we did yesterday, then the board, and it's the first Monday of the month, then it goes to Tuesday. So on Tuesday, September 4th, we will be meeting. And then the other thing of note on here is that on Tuesday, November 13th, at 7 in the morning, we will have a canvassing meeting to canvass the election results from Monday, November 5th.
Okay. Any questions?
There's one other clarification too I'd like to make. On Monday, September 24th, we've actually moved that off of we've moved it back a week so that we give Lori a bit more time to prepare the proposed levy. We ran into some issues with that as far as MDE didn't get us the information till the 11th hour. So we were not able to share as much information with the board as we wanted to regarding that levy. So
Yeah,
this
we
will-
need that.
this will give us another week to get information from MDE.
That would be good. Okay, is there a motion to adopt that meeting schedule? Is there a second? Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the board meeting schedule signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Okay, now I think we're going on to the next one right here. For polling places.
Close, Ken, but what we need is 3.3 to 3.10 is we have to name a bunch of our bank or who we do business with as far as the liquid asset fund, designate Lori and myself for different things. We can do three, really, we approved the calendar, and now what we should do is 3.3 through 3.10, one action item to approve those things. I
Okay,
should
this
have,
is in the normal course of doing business?
yes.
Yeah, okay. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of 3.3 through 3.10 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, now the polling places.
And this is going to sound very familiar because we just reviewed this at our previous board meeting. And so basically what we're doing here is this resolution would set the polling locations for any election in 2019, 1 year out yet. So we're just doing it now rather than waiting till December to do it, so.
Okay. I think you've had time to review it. We added more polling places. Am I correct in that statement?
That is correct. Yep, just last month we added 3 more.
Okay. Any motions?
So moved. Move to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Call the question then. All those in favor of establishing the polling places as outlined signify by saying aye. Aye.
I think we're supposed to do it.
Roll call? Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, we'll start with Angie.
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
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 Okay. We're moving on next to the resolution amending tax abatement agreement. Lori?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Superintendent Funk, for your consideration is basically an amendment of a prior tax abatement that was approved back in April of 2015. What has happened is that that particular property is in process of being sold to a new owner, and so then this requires this process to be reapproved for the benefit of the new owner.
Okay. Any motions on 3.12? Okay, is there a second to that motion? Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the resolution amending the tax abatement agreement signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to the next one, again, a property tax abatement. Lori?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Superintendent Funk, for your consideration is a property tax abatement, and this is for the properties that are listed in Exhibit A. And so this is something that's been in the works, I guess you could say, and so it takes, this is regarding single-family homes, duplexes, multifamily complex, as laid out in the resolution. So the next step for the board is to approve the resolution so that it can move forward.
This is in regards to, I think it was last spring, when we talked about entering into an abatement for new property, or property development within the community, the county, the city, and the school district. And these are the individuals that we would be abating their taxes.
Just a quick clarification. These abatements are only for then well, you said single-family, multi-family, but are they for speculation homes or are they just for owner-occupied?
I think they're for owner occupied. I think that was the agreement.
That's why I just seen a couple different names on there, Smith and Glazier Properties and Care Homes and things like that, and I didn't know how that, just clarify. Okay.
Okay, this is something that the city and the county have also voted upon, so I would ask for a motion. Okay, is there a second to that motion? Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the property tax abatements. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Facility planning update, Dr. Funk.
I have a little bit of information, and then I'm going to have Lori share more of it here in a minute. So a couple things that I think I mentioned a few weeks ago. We had the community task force get together in early December to review the thought exchange results and get feedback on what people were thinking. And coming out of that meeting, some of the discussion was gym space. So we earlier this fall, we had architects look at gym space at Halverson as a potential option. And so what I've done is had them kind of blow it up, and it's on the board. It's on the back corner table over here for the board. So essentially, that's different in addition to what we're talking with Hammerfield. But what they would be doing with Halverson is Halverson's gym is very, very tight, as many of you know right now. So they would be pushing it out into the playground area and be a full-size gym. We only have one full-size gym in our elementary schools in the district, and that's at Hawthorne. And so this would allow us to really open up more opportunities for after-school programming for kids throughout the winter. The other thing this does is it provides a few rows of bleachers for people. So if there's elementary tournaments, we could actually use one of the elementary schools for the gym rather than having to use the high school or Southwest. And then the other thing it does is from a security angle, it takes the office from its current location, which is in the back of the building, or kind of in the center of the building actually, and moves it up to the front door. So the front door is here, and it would add an entryway, which would be secure, and then people would have to wait to be buzzed in by the secretaries, who would be right here, and then they could either come into the office or go into the main building. And so those are that's they presented two options that the architects did. The other option was just basically expand the gym out a little bit and not move the office up front. And by just expanding the gym a little bit, it really wouldn't. I mean, I think what we're hearing from the community members is we want a full-size gym, and I think this best meets the needs of that. So that's what we've heard, and so I wanted to make the board aware of that, in addition to the other Hammerfield options. I had an opportunity, and I think I saw a number of board members at the Halverson Christmas or holiday concert, and it was standing room only, packed gym, you know, and to say the least. I mean, it was great we had all those people there, but it was very uncomfortable. So, and then the other thing I would say is when we're discussing equity issues, with Halverson being our highest free and reduced count building in the district, and they have the smallest gym, it just that concerns me as a superintendent as well. So this is potentially a very good opportunity for us. The other thing I can tell you is we had one group of financial consultants run the numbers for us for the two options as far as if we went with the Hammerfield loan option or if we had did Halverson with it. We met with another group of consultants before Christmas, and Lori can talk through that, and she's going to talk through timeline if we want to do anything here at all this year, and what we're hearing as far as tax impact, and so I'll just kind of turn it over to Lori at this point.
Can I ask one question about that?
Yeah.
With the change in design, will there be opportunities for kids to use it year-round?
Absolutely.
I think that's an important piece as we look at the future.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they had two different groups went in and looked at it, and I believe it does. Yes.
And I would assume that it could be used for a number of different activities, volleyball, for example.
Yes.
And what about, how does, I know as it extends into what is now parking lot?
Playground, park, yes.
Is it going to impose on that area, or have we thought about doing anything to increase the available space for outside activities?
We have not had that discussion yet, but I do know they have a robust playground there, and it is we have a special needs handicap accessible playground at Halverson as well. So that's something I'm sure will be part of the discussion.
All right, just wanted to highlight some things that would be considered in this project if the board decides to move ahead. And it would entail a special election for general obligation school building bonds. The categories we've been talking about, the Hammerfield upgrade, some miscellaneous upgrades at the high school, such as air conditioning for the gymnasium, and finally finishing the locker room that's by the pool.
One of the things that came up was, and I failed to mention this, is there's a locker room off the swimming pool that when the high school was built was never completed. And so this would complete that locker room. And then the other piece is the high school gymnasium has no air conditioning or dehumidification, while the rest of the building does. And the high school principal has been very strong advocate for putting that in the gym. And I can tell you, as board members, last year wasn't so bad because we graduated earlier, but that can be pretty stifling when we are at graduations if we're in June. So that would be, and then for volleyball as well in the fall when we play in August, it gets pretty warm in there. So those are rolled up into this as well.
Yep. And then, as was mentioned, the gym addition at Halverson Elementary. So we've just talked about those things. Actually, the updated estimate, if you include all those pieces, is $22,335,000. Is the most updated figure that we've received on that construction. And what moving ahead with considering this project we'd be requiring a 20-year GO building bond, which would, in order to obtain that, it'd have to be passage with a special election ballot question. Now, one thing that is a very helpful for the school district is that we could have this project happen without a tax increase. by having it configured as a wraparound with the existing debt schedules. So no matter how you slice it, whether it's a $100,000 home, $200,000 home, or the ag or non-ag homestead per acre, it's all a zero tax impact, meaning no increase.
Now, that's a slight downward increase from what you talked about. You want to explain what you found out there to the board?
Right, and so that is it is slightly improved since the last scenario we ran, and there's a couple different reasons. Is that there's more information, little bit better interest rate estimated with this updated configuration, and with using the assumption of the May election date. That also played in our favor when they reran the numbers. So that is what the
Can you explain that further?
So when we had the second financial run on this, they had another, there were a couple things that they took into consideration. There was a district, very similar project that just sold bonds. They were able to use that as a real solid example. Using the example of the May election date also was helpful in the recalc. And then
Because
that
interest
had a
rates
little
were
bit
lower?
better interest rates, a little bit better interest rates currently being looked at for this scenario. So those things came into our favor when they reran it.
What are the GO bonds interest rates right now for what's coming off the high school project? Do you have any idea what that rate is?
I don't know if I have that with me actually, but I could get back to you with that.
And I'm sure it's too early, that's kind of Ken was thinking too. Did it give you any kind of range on interest rates for GOs at this point?
Okay, so in this scenario, what they were using for net interest cost is there's kind of different, average coupon, put it that way, is 3.19%. That's what they're using on this scenario. But as far as what is the interest rate on the old debt, I'd have to actually look that up. It's, yeah. I would say, I actually did pull, I was looking at the original building bonds for the high school that was issued back in 2004, and then it was refunded back in 2007. Actually, I was looking at this afternoon, and I know one of them had like it was over 4%. So.
I was thinking they were in that 5% even GO range back there 20 years ago. That's why I was thinking if we're looking at 3, that's a big savings there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Lori, I don't know if you've calculated this or had it calculated, but what we have coming off, how much would taxes actually drop? I know this is a net zero, but I'm
Right.
sure
Actually,
that question will come about.
yeah, we actually, I mean, I have the debt schedules, of course, but as far as it's a totally different calculation of the tax impact by property value. So actually, I'd have to have it run. Because so far what they ran was tax impact if we pass this. So I can circle back and get that to you.
Can you explain why a special election is required rather than the general election?
The term special election just means that it does require election of the property owners. And also, there is a new regulation that just came into play just recently regarding dates available. We can only hold special elections on certain dates now, where in the past it was, there were a lot of wide open dates that were allowed. And so I think I have a chart here that shows this. Special elections that are allowed, this shows, like, for example, the second Tuesday in February, which would be February 13th in 2018, would have been technically an option if we decided things earlier, put it that way. April 10th is another allowed date for special elections, then May 8th is an allowed date for special elections, then August 14th, and then November 6th. So those are the dates allowed.
So I think to answer your question, Jill, she's got some more information she'll share with you as we go through the presentation, and that might help.
So given those 5 dates, as I mentioned, that are allowed for a special election, then our next piece that we look at is what are we trying to accomplish and what dates would we need to consider then to move ahead. So if we're looking at construction to occur in 2019, then that drives when we would need to have our special election date. So given that the preference being that we could have construction occurring in 2019, that means that May 8th of 2018 would need to be our special election date just to get through all the steps that are required and have our bids let the most optimum time to get most competitive construction bids.
Lorna, let me ask you a question on the financing side of it. So what risk do we run, and you might not know the answer to this, but if we wait until November to do it within the general election, and then we sell bonds sometime next year, what's our potential risk at the bond, price level or percentage level?
Well, basically, to get the question on would our financing rate be worsened by delaying, that is something I guess I would circle back with a financial advisor and get another scenario run. But we did have a discussion on the construction side. For example, even if we were to look at the August 14th date for the special election, it would be virtually impossible to finish the design and let bids in order for construction to occur with getting the best pricing in 2019. So it was basically with visiting with our construction manager, architects, that they're like, in all reality, we really need to have May 8th be the date for the vote in order to get the best pricing as we go through the process for the expense of the project. So if you look at May 8th then as that best date for the construction to occur later on, then other dates that fall into the timeline that are needed is February 5th is when we'd have to have our board approve the application for review and comment for us to send to MDE. And so what that means is we complete this application explaining what the project is and what it's all about, and our board needs to basically approve me sending it to MDE. And then MDE has a certain length of time where they can review it, ask us additional questions, and then we need to have positive review and comment from MDE before the vote, basically. And then we also would be looking at February 20th then is we'd have to have the resolution calling for the special election to occur by February 20th. That is the last board meeting that'd be available to us to meet all the timelines in order to have a May 8th election. So given those key dates of May 8th, February 5th, and February 20th, to accomplish those things that were laid out there, then the other months would be designated to do such things as the development of the informational communication plan would be February. We do have required mailings that have to go out to property owners, and that would occur in April. And then we would have a board meeting for public comment on the project that would need to occur at the April 16th board meeting then, given our timeline. And then we would be, at the very latest, publishing a positive review and comment that MDE, they basically give us positive review and comment, and then we actually publish an excerpt of that verbatim in our official newspaper. And then, assuming we have the May 8th election, then it must be canvassed, the election results must be canvassed by May 18th then. So there are many things that need to flow along quite quickly. As I mentioned before, on the construction side of things, design work would occur from May to October, so you can see that it takes a length of time to fully develop the specs for the bid process. The procurement and bidding process would occur in November, and that's what our construction manager was stressing. In order to get best pricing, we definitely want to have it go out for bid that early. And with construction, the assumption would be starting in April, weather permitting, that's why April's the date due to weather. And then having the construction complete by August would be the goal, with occupancy in August of 19. So those are some of the key dates I just wanted to share with you, and there's many more, I guess, steps and regulations that are, such as the ballot and all that. Those are obviously routine pieces that would be developed as well. Any questions?
It looks great. The one thing that occurs to me is that obviously we're going to have to sell this to the public, and in my opinion, it would be extremely important that we have a very active community involvement in this, and that's why I broached this subject for the meeting. Who are the community, or who are they? How many of them are they? How active are they? In my opinion, this idea obviously is coming from many levels, board level, administration level, but I think the community really has to be outspoken in their support of this, or it won't fly.
Yeah, I think that's, if we look at that timeline, there's a lot of education that we need to do for the public so they know exactly what they're looking at. It's easy for us to see all the drawings and go through that, but I guess I know I've mentioned it to Mike that we're going to have to go to each building and have meetings, I think, and get the public in here so that they can see what we would propose. My question to the board is, we're looking at a tight timeline here and my past experience in referendums is the public usually likes it during a regular election. I think that we have to look at that and say, okay, are they willing to take a chance on the rates going up and the price going up, and then our timeline is all messed up? Because if we look at getting the design work done and getting the bids so that they can go at it in the spring, there's no way we can do that in November from what I see. So we have to weigh those things out. And, that along with that timing, I think, is the timing of the actual taxes. I don't know if you want to call it fortunate, but our timing is right so that it's no tax increase. Well, there could be a tax decrease. So you could have a decrease, and if we waited, then it would go back up again. And I'm just thinking in my mind, those are things that we've got to weigh. Any other thoughts or questions?
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. We need to be very transparent about these tax situation, and the public is going to understand that if we don't engage in this project, their taxes will probably go down. So we need to be very upfront about those figures, and not try to create the impression that we're trying to conceal something here.
I would imagine if we waited till like a general election, we'd look at maybe not even April of 2020 then for construction. I mean, that would be tight at that point then. So then would you be looking, because I mean, if it doesn't get done by August, we're moving events around. So like I said, now 2020, and then maybe you don't even play on it till 2021. And as we mentioned, like Afton had, where there's 50-some events that go on out there during the fall. So I know what you mean about it. It is tight. So
I very much am in favor of the accelerated plan. These improvements are long overdue already, and I'm really excited about these improvements. And quite frankly, I'd be rather depressed if we could move as fast as we can here.
I think we all agree that the facilities they're well beyond their usage range, and from the business side of it, I've always been a firm believer that you keep your capital expenditures on a consistent basis, and so you're not getting high and then going low and high and low. I guess I do like it that we are keeping it consistent, and I hope the public feels that way also. We'll find out.
And I think, isn't it statistically beneficial for the project to be on a special election rather than a
Yes,
general?
I think it's about a 15% swing of more likelihood of success. Just a couple of comments. So one of the things that we're doing is we're going to create a video expose, I don't know, maybe a 3 to 5 minute video of Hammerfield in its current condition. And we are going to post it within probably the next month. We'll post it online, so people will actually be able to see. What sticks out in my mind is the trough urinal, within the field house there, and all of the concerns I think that a number of the board members saw that went with it. You mentioned community support. Mark, when's the next task force meeting? The 8th? Okay, so on January 8th, there's another community meeting where we've invited various folks from the community to come in, and they haven't. We just had the last meeting we had. We really talked about thought exchange results and got feedback from the committee on what they thought. This meeting, the intent is to show some of the plans, talk about the finances a little bit, and I think Neil and Ken, you're both right on as far as getting the community engaged on this. I would anticipate between myself and some of the other administrators in this district, we will be speaking to if we go with the May election, we would be speaking to every service club within this community, any organization really, and we will put together really the why on why we need to do this. And so I see that as I guess what I'm trying to tell you is if you give the board eventually green lights this project, your administration, we will put together plans to make this as successful as possible for the Albert Lea community.
Question I have for board members: any thoughts on the Halverson addition? That's something up and beyond, and so I was just curious what your thoughts were.
Well, I'm probably biased. I'm a Halverson alum, and my son goes there. I think it's great. I mean, the gym is tiny there. I've been to so many programs there, and they can't have more than one grade level at a time because there's not enough room. People are coming like an hour early to sit down and wait to go to a program to make sure they get a good seat. But I think it'd be great, and especially if that's available in the summer, like you'd asked. And I don't think that the entrance is completely necessary, but I think it is nice. I mean, it would be a nice addition, because right now where the offices is kind of a little out of the way. So I think it'd be wonderful. It's nice, I guess, kind of like Dr. Funk said, you know, the inequality issue. It's our school with the most poverty, so it'd be kind of nice that they get something nice in their building.
What's the cost of the gym? I mean, if somebody said, we'll break this down for
$4 million,
for that addition?
yes.
So, yeah, and so on a project of that size, that's not gonna make your taxes go up very much or down very much, so I'd say add it in.
To me, increasing the gym space at Halverson makes sense. It seems like it's needed and would be well used if the public wants to put that in play.
Pretty small gym space over at Sibley. Has there been talk of saying, well, Halverson and a Sibley, that'd be another $4 million, and I know you don't want to keep creeping up, and I totally agree on, you know, for activities on the south end of town, there just really isn't any space. I mean, 100% Halverson, but I'm just wondering if that comes up too.
The two issues with Sibley, one, the gym is kind of in the center of the building, okay? And then the other issue is, in that neighborhood, they can walk across the street to Southwest and the full-size gym. So, again, I think that's what we're looking at there.
I do like the safety design here. You know, I think at this point, when we look at our things that have happened across the country and you look at Halverson School, I like that safety factor in the office being moved. This is one of the things that I saw when I looked at it. Okay,
Sorry.
go ahead.
The task force on January 8th, is that open to like anyone or just who showed up the first time?
It's open to anyone, but not 4 of you. So, 4 board members. So just make sure, if you're going to show up, just let us know so that we don't have a quorum of the board there present.
Well,
At the high school, E213, 6:30.
now, we do have a facilities committee, so
Yes.
they would have the first option to go. So we'll have to communicate on that. But I think that I would like to, I'm on that committee, and I would like to attend just to see what others are saying. And I know Dave and Jill are also on that, so just trying to make sure we don't have 4. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, then we'll move on to MSBA Leadership Conference.
Again, I think, have they emailed you the program yet, or the link to it? I have not reviewed it, but this is an annual agenda item we have on here. Since we do not have any new board members this year, then we will plan on meeting on Wednesday evening in the lobby area. 6 p.m. work for people for dinner? Yes? Okay. And then we'll do just a local establishment, and then we'll go to a nicer place on Thursday. If you have any suggestions, I know we had Fogo last year. If you have any suggestions, email me or Ashley, and we'll pick something different this year as far as where we would like to go and eat. And so we usually rotate and try to pick something else every year we go.
Okay. Any questions on the leadership conference? Okay, then I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, motion's been made. Is there a second? Second. Meeting is adjourned.